My brothers and sisters, sometimes life hits you so hard that it knocks the wind out of your chest. You planned, you hoped, you made dua with tears in your eyes, and suddenly everything you were building collapses in front of you. The people you trusted walk away. The opportunities you relied on close one by one. The dream you held onto for years turns to dust in a single moment, and you sit there wondering, why? Why did Allah let this happen? Why is my heart breaking like this? But listen carefully, because this is where the story changes. Every time your dream breaks, something unseen is happening. A reality you never imagined is quietly being written for you. A path you didn't know existed is being opened. And the author of that new chapter is the one who knows every detail of your life, your past, your present, your pain, your patience, your potential. Sometimes Allah doesn't let your dream come true because it's too small for the person you are becoming. Sometimes He takes away what you loved because He heard conversations you didn't hear, saw intentions you couldn't see, and protected you from endings that would have destroyed you. Sometimes the delay is not a punishment, it's a preparation. And sometimes the heartbreak is not rejection, it's redirection. You see, when life breaks you, Allah is not pushing you away. He is pulling you closer. When the plan you built for yourself collapses, He is guiding you to the plan He built for you. And wallahi, His plan is always better. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. That's why you should never think that a broken dream is the end of your story. It might be the beginning of the chapter where Allah finally shows you why the struggle was worth it. When Allah allows something to break inside you, it doesn't mean you've reached the end. In fact, many people discover their greatest turning point at the exact moment they felt the most shattered. When your heart breaks, your plans collapse, and your dreams fall apart, you begin to see life without illusions. You stop depending on people who were never meant to hold your future. You stop chasing things that were never written for you. And in that uncomfortable emptiness, in that painful silence, Allah is calling you to return to Him with a sincerity you may never have reached without the hardship. There are moments in life when you're carrying so much that Allah Himself must remove what you cannot let go of. Not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to lighten your load. Sometimes you are walking towards something that seems beautiful from the outside, but Allah sees the inside. He sees the consequences, the heartbreaks, the sins, the disappointments that would have crushed you later. So He lets the dream break now while you still have the strength to rebuild. He allows doors to close because He knows that what lies behind them is not goodness for your soul. And even though your heart cries for what was lost, He is saving you from a pain far deeper than the one you're feeling today. When a person goes through heartbreak or disappointment, they often ask, why me? What did I do wrong? But sometimes it's not about what you did wrong. It's about what you're being prepared for. Brokenness has a way of stripping you of pride, ego, and illusion. When your heart is shattered, the pieces fall into the hands of the one who can fix them better than they were before. And that moment, when you finally submit, when you finally admit your helplessness, is the moment real growth begins. Because true strength doesn't come from pretending you're okay. True strength comes from falling to your knees and saying, Allah, I can't do this without you. And when you reach that point, a shift happens inside you. You begin to realize that the broken dream was never the destination. It was just a detour. A detour designed to purify you, humble you, redirect you, and elevate you. You start seeing things differently. The people who left no longer feel like a loss. The opportunities that disappeared no longer feel like punishment. Instead, you recognize that Allah was clearing your path. He was removing distractions. He was making space in your life for something better, something purer, something more aligned with the person you are destined to become. Your brokenness is an invitation from Allah to step onto a new path, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Not with fear, but with trust. Because every tear you shed, every night you spent asking, why? Every moment you felt alone, none of it was wasted. Allah was strengthening your heart, softening your soul, and preparing you for a blessing that requires a stronger version of you. And when you finally rise from the pain, you won't rise empty. You will rise with clarity. You will rise with patience. You will rise with a connection to Allah that could only be built in the depths of your struggle. That is why your brokenness is not a failure. It is an invitation to something far greater than the dream you lost. When something you love is taken away, the pain feels sharp and personal. You replay moments in your mind, you question yourself, and you wonder why the loss had to happen at all. But the truth is, what Allah takes from you is never greater than what He intends to replace it with. You may not see it in the moment because grief blinds you, disappointment clouds your heart, and your mind becomes trapped in the memory of what could have been. But if you could see the unseen, if you could witness the destiny being rewritten for you behind the curtain of the present, you would fall into sada out of gratitude, not sadness. Think of the times you begged for something, believing it was the best thing for you. You made dua, you planned, you hoped, and when it slipped out of your hands, you felt betrayed by life. But months later, sometimes years later, you look back and say, Alhamdulillah that things didn't work out the way I wanted. Why? Because the thing you cried for would have harmed you. The person you chased would have drained your soul. The opportunity you desired would have distracted you from your purpose. Allah knew what your heart didn't. Allah saw what your eyes couldn't. And Allah protected you in ways you didn't ask for but desperately needed. When Allah replaces something, He doesn't give you an equal exchange. He gives you better. Better for your iman. Better for your peace. Better for your future. The problem is, we measure better by dunya standards. We think better means more money, more comfort, more attention, more visibility. But Allah measures better by what brings you closer to Him, what purifies your heart, what builds your character, and what leads you to Jannah. Sometimes the blessing is wrapped in hardship. Sometimes the replacement begins as a trial. Sometimes the gift looks like loss until Allah unfolds it. Imagine someone holding on to a tiny pebble, unwilling to let go because they believe it's precious. They cry when it slips through their fingers, but they don't realize that Allah removed it to place a diamond in their hands. You may not see the diamond immediately, you may not understand the timing, but Allah's replacements always carry wisdom. Every closed door is redirected protection. Every lost dream is spiritual elevation. Every heartbreak is divine kindness disguised as struggle. Even the people who leave your life leave with Allah's permission. Not every person you love is meant to stay. Some people are lessons, not destinations. Some people are stepping stones, not lifelong companions. If their presence was no longer good for your heart, Allah removed them so He could send someone better, someone more sincere, someone aligned with the next chapter of your life. And the replacements don't always come as people or opportunities. Sometimes Allah replaces your sadness with strength. Sometimes He replaces your confusion with clarity. Sometimes He replaces your loneliness with a deep and unshakable connection to Him. These are the gifts that don't fade, don't betray, don't break. So when Allah takes something away, do not assume you've been deprived. Assume you're being prepared. Assume you're being upgraded. Assume a blessing is on the way, one that will make you say one day, Allah, your plan was more beautiful than my dream. Sometimes you chase a dream with everything inside you. You believe it will bring you happiness, stability, success, or fulfillment. You imagine your entire future around it. And when it breaks, when Allah removes it or blocks it, you feel devastated. But what you don't see in that moment is the danger hidden behind that dream. The traps, the pain, the heartbreak, the spiritual harm, the long-term consequences that Allah was saving you from. Allah breaks your plans when those plans would eventually break you. Not because you are unworthy of them, but because they are unworthy of you. You see, we humans are limited. Our vision is small. We judge by appearance, by emotion, by what seems promising on the surface. But Allah sees everything behind the curtain. He sees the conversations that never reached your ears, the intentions hidden behind smiles, the future issues buried beneath opportunities, the heartbreak behind what you called love, the corruption behind what you called success, the loss behind what you called or security. So when He removes something you were running toward, it is not rejection. It is protection in its highest, most merciful form. There are moments in your life when you are begging for something that would have destroyed your peace. Imagine asking Allah for a door that leads you into darkness. Imagine asking for a blessing that would eventually turn into a curse. Imagine chasing a dream that would have pulled you away from your deen, your dignity, your purpose. And imagine Allah loving you too much to let you walk into that. So He breaks it. He blocks it. He makes it fall apart so you don't fall apart later. You may think the person you lost was your future, but Allah saw how that relationship would have damaged your heart, drained your energy, or pushed you closer to sin. You may think the job you didn't get was your dream, but Allah saw how it would have drowned you in stress, pride, or compromising your values. You may think the opportunity that slipped away was your only chance, but Allah saw it was a prison disguised as a blessing. So He shut it down before it shut you down. Sometimes Allah removes you from places you love because the environment there would have poisoned your soul. He removes people who are part of your comfort zone because staying attached to them would stop your growth. He blocks plans that make you excited because they would take you further from Him. His protection doesn't always feel gentle. Sometimes it feels like heartbreak. Sometimes it feels like grief. Sometimes it feels like humiliation. But later, once clarity comes, you realize it was love in a form you weren't ready to understand. The truth is, you might never know the full story of what Allah protected you from. You might never see the alternative timeline where everything you begged for ended in pain. But what you can know, without doubt, is that your Lord is too loving to let you ruin your life with your own desires. And that is why He intervenes. That is why He breaks your plans. That is why He redirects you even when you resist. And one day, when Allah gives you something better, something pure, something peaceful, something aligned with your soul, you will look back and say, Allah, thank you for not giving me what I thought I wanted. You saved me from myself. Your new reality with Allah does not begin when your circumstances change. Your job improves. Your relationship heals. Your plans finally work. No, a new reality begins the very moment your heart shifts from relying on dunya to relying on the one who controls the dunya. It begins when you stop saying, why is this happening to me? And start saying, Allah, guide me through this. It begins when you stop clinging to what has ended and start trusting the one who never ends. This inner transformation, this quiet turning of the soul, is where your new chapter truly starts. You see, pain creates a crossroads inside you. One path leads you to hopelessness, frustration, and resentment. The other path leads you to surrender, trust, and peace. Both paths are available, but only one of them builds the version of you that Allah wants to elevate. When you choose tawakkul, when you choose to believe in Allah more than you believe in your fear, that's when the transformation begins. That's when Allah opens a reality for you that you didn't even know was possible. Sometimes you think your life will improve when the situation changes. You think, when I get a better job, I'll be happier. When I get married, I'll feel complete. When this test ends, I'll feel peace. But the truth is, your heart can find peace even before the situation improves, because peace is not found in the outcome. Peace is found in the one who controls the outcome. And when your heart connects to Allah with sincerity, everything else becomes easier to handle. Your difficulties stop controlling you. Your losses no longer define you. Your past no longer weighs you down. You start moving with the calmness that only comes from knowing that Allah is in control. And there is something incredible that happens the moment you trust Allah more deeply. He begins to show you possibilities you never imagined. Doors open that you didn't knock on. Opportunities appear that you never planned for. Blessings come from directions you didn't expect. It's as if Allah is telling you, now that you've surrendered your heart to me, let me show you what I had written for you all along. This is why Tawakkul is not passive. It is powerful. It doesn't mean you sit and wait. It means you move with a heart anchored in Allah instead of anchored in fear. Your new reality also begins when you redefine success. Instead of asking, does this make me look successful? You start asking, is this pleasing to Allah? Instead of chasing approval, you chase purpose. Instead of drowning in worry, you find strength in dua. You stop begging the creation and start relying on the Creator. And that shift changes everything. And slowly, you begin to notice something amazing. The things that once scared you no longer hold the same power. The heartbreak that once broke you becomes a source of wisdom. The loss that once devastated you becomes a reminder of Allah's protection. The plans that failed become stepping stones to something greater. And you realize that Allah never abandoned you, not for a single moment. He was simply preparing you, guiding you, strengthening you, teaching you how to rise. So your new reality is not written the day your circumstances change. It is written the moment you trust Allah, even while the circumstances stay the same. That trust becomes the key. That trust becomes the turning point. That trust becomes the chapter where Allah finally unveils the beauty behind every hardship you survived. In the end, my brothers and sisters, remember this. When your dreams break, it is not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. It is a sign that He is reshaping your destiny with a wisdom far greater than your understanding. Every loss, every delay, every closed door carries a divine purpose. Allah does not take without giving. He does not break without rebuilding. And He does not test without preparing you for something better. The pain you feel today may become the very doorway to the peace you have been searching for. The tears you shed may be watering the ground for blessings you never expected. And the chapter you thought was ending may be the beginning of the most beautiful part of your story. So hold on to hope. Hold on to patience. Hold on to Allah. Trust that your Lord is writing a new reality for you, one filled with healing, growth, clarity, and a future that fits the person He is shaping you to become. What you lost was never meant to define you. What Allah is giving next will elevate you. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to share it with someone who needs a reminder today. And make sure you subscribe so more uplifting content can reach you. May Allah bless you with a future better than anything you ever dreamed of. Ameen.